morning, good afternoon, or good evening. How you guys doing? Welcome to the Bronx Queen Bros podcast, better known as the BQB. My name is Big V. We got Big D. We got Jack B. How you doing, Dave?
Dude, if you're going to have that amount of energy, I'm doing so good. Again, how can you not be excited? We had a great episode last week. People loved got some great feedback. V, a lot of people loved your segment, so I'm even repping it here. We got V on top.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
We're
Look
ready
at that.
to go.
Looking
Jack, how you feeling
fantastic.
today? You ready?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm ready to talk some news around the league and some injury bug that caught the Yankees and Mets, unfortunately. And we got some great World Baseball Classic going on right now. I can't wait to talk about that. And then we'll get into our segments.
Now, before we do all that fun stuff, I have to remind everybody about the best kept secret in New Jersey. This episode is sponsored by Engineering and Design Concepts, a small company doing big things. They specialize in product development, manufacturing, and test equipment. If you or anyone you know need assistance in that field, they are the company you need to contact. The link to their website will be in the description below. Let's get started, boys.
Yeah, fellas, why don't you recap me what's going on around the league? We got some headlines to talk about.
Yes, we do. I'll get us started off with the first one. The Arizona Diamondbacks extended Corbin Carroll to an 8-year, $111 million contract, which includes a 9th-year team option. This is what I call the classic Braves deal. This is what the Braves have been known to do the past few years. Did it with Albies, did it with Acuna, they did it with Riley, they did it with even I know they didn't do it with Olsen, but even Olsen got a pretty friendly contract. They lock up a young player quickly while they just kind of step their foot in the big leagues, and they're trying to get them at a discounted price as their agent, so they don't have to pay the arbitration contracts, or plus they steal a few years of free agency. They got Corbin Carroll now until 30 or 31 years old, and he looks like a pretty good ball player.
Yeah, that's some good points, V. I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's a classic Braves move here. We got a super young player they're going to give a long-term deal to, and if he turns out to be all-star caliber, you look like a genius. If and I don't think this will happen, but if somehow this contract doesn't work out, then you seem like an idiot. But I think if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Corbin Carroll becoming a good player because, you could argue that he already is a good player. It's just the way he's looked so far in his young career. And I don't know if there's a faster man in baseball than Corbin Carroll.
He's practically the Flash.
Some other news, we have some Trevor Bauer news, which is the first thing we've heard from him in quite a while. He signed a 1-year, $4 million deal with incentives with the Yokohama Bay Stars of Japan. So how are we feeling about that?
Well, listen, there's a lot of, let's just say, controversy around that gentleman right there in Trevor Bauer. He, put all that stuff aside. You look at him as a baseball player. He's a pretty goddamn good pitcher. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does out there in Japan. Listen, what he did is just not a good thing. And that's why allegedly what he is accused of, obviously. Clearly, they dropped the case for whatever reason. I don't really know what happened. Obviously, the Dodgers didn't want him to be playing in their uniform. And clearly, no Major League Baseball team wants him. So, obviously, he still wants to play. And I guess go away from the at least the American spotlight and see if maybe he could, if he turns heads in Japan, he can make a name out there for himself, still get paid very well, $4 million. Poor guy, only making $4 million this upcoming year. What can I say about that?
Yeah, it's super interesting because I know Cohen was asked when he did a press conference, I think last week, about if he'd consider bringing in Trevor Bauer with, some of the injuries that we'll get into, and he shut it down right away. He said absolutely not. And then Cashman was also asked a similar question, and he had a similar sentiment and just said, we're good with the guys that we have on our ball team. So It seems like his time is kind of past in the MLB. It's a bit of a PR nightmare, I guess, perception wise, to bring him in. So understandable. So that's really it on that. And then we have another one, Keibert Ruiz of the Nationals. He got an 8-year deal with 2 club options, so super team friendly deal for only 50 million, which can run higher with some incentives, but they weren't really outlined that much in the deal. V, how we feeling on this?
I mean, this is what the Nationals should have done with Harper when he had first came up. They should have done this with Soto. They're stealing years of free agency, which is the key. Caber Ruiz is a young guy, and he looks like a very promising catcher. He's got a good arm behind the plate. I've seen him catch a couple games against the Mets. His bat definitely needs a little more work, but it looks really solid even off the bat now. I think he has a good chance to be one of the better players on the Nationals this year. I mean, that's not saying much because they got no good players, but hey, listen, they got control of this guy for the next 10 years, and imagine if they had control for Soto for 10 years instead of only 6. That's my point. Is that if they had done this with some of their other young stars, they'll probably be in better position. So it's a good thing they did it with him, and clearly he wants to stay there. I'm not saying maybe it didn't try. Obviously, I know they tried to extend both those players, but it clearly didn't work out. But this is something I'm intrigued to see if it's going to happen more in baseball. What they just did with Corbin Carroll with the Diamondbacks and now Keibert Ruiz with the Nationals. I wonder if more teams are going to try this out with a couple of the young, like the big rookies in the game that are coming up. I'm curious to see if like the Orioles try to do something with Adley Rutschman or Gunnar Henderson or like the young good players are going to get these bigger guaranteed money up front instead of banking on themselves to go through arbitration and hitting free agency a little sooner.
Yeah, it's a super interesting point to get into, and not to take the spotlight off of Keeper because that's great for him that he got this contract, but in more of a macro, zooming out in the bigger picture of baseball, I think it's this yin and yang versus taking the money when you're a young player, right? Especially a lot of these guys coming from just not coming from that much money. That could be said by a lot of professional athletes, but you're not coming from much money, so a team flashes 50 million in front of your eyes, how are you going to turn that down? But on the other side, you never are more valuable, especially if you're a good player, to when you're a free agent, right? That's what we saw with Aaron Judge. The Yankees waited until his contract was completely up, and what happened? They ended up having to bite the bullet and pay him a lot of money. So yeah, super interesting, two sides of the coin, right? You can bet on yourself and end up making a lot of money, or you kind of take the safe money up front. Either way, if you're a good player, you're going to get paid handsomely in the MLB. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, so that's some of the big headlines that have come up. Interesting to see some of these young guys getting paid. Fellas, how much are we loving the World Baseball Classic right now?
I mean, dude, the World Baseball Classic, it really is one of my favorite things. And we touched on it a little bit last week. But just, one of the best events in sports is basically the World Cup of Baseball. And to me, it's can't miss TV. It doesn't really matter who's playing. Just watching meaningful baseball for the first time since the last World Series would have been enough for me to watch. But yeah, V, how you been liking these games so far?
Oh, dude, I love it. I love it. I mean, I was up late last night watching USA versus Mexico. I mean,
Yep,
it's
me
like
too.
it's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm up trying. I know at that point America was getting a little schwacked on there. But I mean, that's besides the point. All I know though, it's entertaining to watch. I mean, listen. I'm rooting for USA hardcore. I really want them to win this thing. But watching what Joey Meneses did was great. It was awesome. And for Mexico, I mean, just seeing the passion with any player, it's like every at bat's a big at bat for them because they're taking pride in doing this. It's not just a spring training, just trying to see the ball through the zone type thing, which is great for a lot of these players. They need to do that too. But I mean, this is meaningful games already, and it's super exciting to see it. And I like watching all these games. I love watching all these games.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if you caught the Venezuela versus Dominican Republic game on Saturday, but that was just the atmosphere in Miami. The crowd was absolutely electric. they're standing the whole game. The fans are just they're up, they're cheering. It's like a big party, and that's really what it was for the majority Mexico fans last night. And it really was. DeRosa said it during his on-field interview that we're the visitors tonight. Yeah, we're in the United States, but it's a majority Mexico fans, and
Oh yeah.
I think yeah, we'll get more into it as we go on. But yeah, it was super interesting. If you guys don't know, the U.S. took a tough loss last night, 11-5 to Mexico after beating Great Britain, who everyone thought we'd really crush. I think we were 8.5 run favorites, which is kind of crazy to even think about.
It's insane.
Wow.
But we ended up only winning 6-2. So, how we feeling about Team USA? Like, how we feeling about this?
I mean, listen, I love it. I mean, I love the lineup. This lineup is freaking crazy. I'm not even looking at it. It's Mike Trout, it's Mookie Betts, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado. I mean, Tim Anderson. You got, who else am I missing? Will Smith's the catcher.
Yep.
Schwarber or
Trey
Alonso's
Turner.
your DH. Trey Turner, Jeff McNeil. I mean,
Cedric
dude,
Mullins.
like this is insane.
But V, know what you didn't mention?
Pitching.
Any pitching, and the pitching is really not it. And it's hard to blame the players, right? Because the players for every year they have their preseason regimen, right? They probably get ramped up. They're on a specific schedule, and they probably, to be fair, don't want to be playing in high leverage games, high leverage situations this early, right? They're worried about injury. They're worried about just messing up their whole rhythm, right? You're basically playing super meaningful baseball when you would normally be playing spring training, the least meaningful baseball that there is, right? So it's tough to see. It's understandable why guys really would not want to participate. Plus, some of our best pitchers are notoriously hurt, like Jacob deGrom. Obviously, V knows far too well about the injury history of certain guys, and obviously, so do I. We'll talk about Carlos Rodon in a little bit, but yeah, I think, and I don't think we're gonna win this tournament, and I really hope we do, but I don't think we are, just because our pitching really isn't at the standard that it needs to be, But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, nothing about it. Yeah. They should have called me up.
V, where would you play on Team USA? Where would you play? Where would you bat? Where would you pitch? What would you do?
I would have my own set of trumpets be coming out. I think I'd be having the drum sets coming through as I'm freaking closing these games out. Lights out with the slowest EFIS 55-mile-per-hour pitch these motherfuckers have ever seen. They just ain't hitting nothing.
V, we gotta retire the trumpets, bro. We gotta retire the trumpets. After you played the trumpets in the 7th inning for Edwin and against the Padres,
Jack,
retire.
you know what that comment deserves? The trumpets are fucking electric. Get the hell out of here.
Dude, I can't with the trumpets.
Well, I can't wait to see us have one episode without bringing up these trumpets, because I feel like we're never going to stop talking about it. So with the whole World Baseball Classic, obviously we've talked about it, and we talk about how players don't play oftentimes to avoid injuries and stuff. That kind of transitions to our next point. Let's get back to focusing on the Yankees and the Mets specifically. Got a lot of injuries going around, fellas. Got a lot of injuries. You guys kind of want to dive into your teams and how you think these injuries are going to affect them? Let's start with the Yankees. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, so we got some injuries with the Yanks, and it's tough, man. It's almost every year with the Yanks, and it's really the Mets too. They have injuries every year, but it just sucks that it's so early in the season, and it's like everyone's hopeful. It's a new year, clean slate, and same old shit. It's just the same old shit. So Frankie Montas, he's getting shoulder surgery. He's going to probably miss most of the season. They're hoping to maybe get him back late July and maybe for the playoff push late during the season. They're hoping to have him back. And then he actually admitted in an interview that he was not healthy when the Yankees traded for him, which is just like bizarre that somehow that didn't come up on the physical that the Yankees gave him. So who knows what was going on? And the guy that we gave up for him, Ken, do you remember his name? Ken Waldenchuck or something along
Something
those.
along that line.
Yeah, he's like turned out to be a. He's been great for Oakland. He's like one of their best pitchers. So
Yep.
if Montas is healthy, he could be all right. But yeah, no, not that's just great. Nestor obviously was supposed to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, who would probably be close to the best pitcher on the team, and he suffered a hamstring injury, so he had to back out from that. He has yet to pitch a spring training. And then we hear that the newly acquired Carlos Rodon is suffering from forearm tightness and a forearm strain, and he's going to be out till the middle of April, which is just a horrendous sign because Rodon's a guy that's basically been healthy for 2 or 3 years of his career. That's about it. Every other year he's been injured. He was injured a lot earlier in his career, which is why he really wasn't that big of a name until he had that couple good years in Chicago and then had a follow up good year with the Giants last year. So just not ideal, man. Just not ideal. Then we got Harrison Bader, who was like a godsend last year in the playoffs. He's one of the only guys that hit for us and playing a Gold Glove center field. And thank God Aaron Judge didn't have to play center field. Who's like not a bad center fielder. It's not like criticism of Judge. Just like maybe our best player that's 6'7" and is historically injured shouldn't be playing center. Like it's just an idea. But so Bader has an oblique, so hopefully that's just I don't know. It's been a light oblique strain, so who knows? Maybe they say maybe he'll be ready for opening day, maybe not, probably not. So, and then good old Lou Trevino, the righty out of the pen who gets shelled all the time. He's hurt too. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? It's just classic Yankees, and hopefully we can get through this. That's all I got. V. What about the Mets?
Well, before I jump into the Mets, I gotta say, or I got a question. I should say, I got a question. Are you worried about Rodon's forearm? Like, are we talking Tommy John potentially, or
No, I don't think
no?
so.
All right,
No,
that's a good thing. It's good.
it. I don't know what. Who really knows with the Yankees because they really do a bad job as far as transparency with these injuries. But from all I've read, it doesn't seem like it's that severe. It seems like they're being super cautious, which they historically are with certain players. And Yankees often play the long game. They want guys healthy for the end of the season, which doesn't end up happening half the time. But yeah, so I'm not too worried. I am worried because of his injury history, but I'm not worried as far as he's not going to pitch this whole season. I'm not too worried about that. Like I think it's more of a weeks than months. That's what I would think.
Okay, okay. Now, so you mentioned the Mets.
Yeah.
The big name that is going to be injured for a hot minute here is Jose Quintana, which is insane. This guy, for like the last 9 years of his career, besides the short in 2020 season, has thrown 29 or more starts. 30. He's a 30-start guy, year in, year out. You put on a Mets uniform, what happens to you? You get injured. What can I say? But besides that, it really does suck. He has a stress fracture in the fifth rib on his right side or something like that. I'm hearing reports something along the lines of he can't throw for 3 months. There's other reports saying that he's going to be able to throw in 6 weeks. I don't like that there's a lot of mixed opinions on when he's throwing or when he's going to start throwing. All I know is this guy can't throw for a hot minute. That means he's not even ramped up. It's going to be a while. I don't think we'll see him till close to the All-Star break, maybe right around there. That's the big one. That does push probably David Peterson into the fifth starter spot in the rotation. And Peterson had a really good year last year, has looked pretty good so far in spring. He did have a comebacker back at his foot, and they were worried, but it looks like it was just like a bruise, so he should be good to go. But Tyler McGill, he's also another guy. He started for the Mets opening day 2022. He's going to be battling also for that fifth spot. I think they're going to give it to Peterson, though. and it looks like the Mets rotation depth is already thinning because I mean Senga got scratched for a start, but it was a right index finger discomfort, which they're relating it to the fact that he's adjusting to the new balls here in the United States because they're bigger than the ones in Japan. And so I'm not too worried there. Brooks Raley is off Team USA for a hamstring pull, a strain, not a pull, a strain, and he should be fine. I'm not too worried about that. I think he should be fine for opening day. Just a big one for the Mets is Quintana right now. Hopefully, it stays no more than this, and we'll go from there. I mean, it's tough to say. I think for Quintana, like I said already, I think Peterson has the job, but I mean, McGill today, I think threw 4 scoreless innings against the Marlins. He looked good. If one more injury happens, which with how old the rotation is, it can happen right away. As McGill's right back in this rotation too, and hopefully that's not the case. But it's why we got like 7 starters on the Mets.
Well, I once heard a quote that a good team has 7 to 8 good starting pitchers because you just need that depth for how long and grueling a baseball season is.
Yeah.
So I guess our teams here will be tested, and the better teams will prevail. It's always tough, fellas, getting into our production meeting and being like, we should have a segment on the injury bug. Like no one wants to talk about it, but there's just so much news around it, so we have to. And hopefully, it's not something we have to keep on discussing throughout the season because we want everyone to stay healthy. But we will keep everyone up to date with what we hear on injuries.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's go. In our production meeting, I get excited to talk about this stuff, right? So we're going to jump into our segments. We're going to fire up the hot stove. Big V, kick us off.
We're firing it up today, boys. Welcome to Viton's Hot Stove. If you don't already know, if you make the hot stove, it's because you are on fire. You are pitching your ass off. You are smoking the ball. Or, do I dare say, I got a hot take for you. So, today for the hot stove, ladies and gentlemen, the Dark Knight has risen for Team Italy. Matt Harvey in the World Baseball Classic is dominant again with an 89-mile-per-hour fastball. He is killing it, ladies and gentlemen. He is 1-0 for Team Italy with a 1.29 ERA in 7 innings. He has 3 strikeouts. He's actually looking really good. It's actually really nice to see. Listen, I loved Harvey when he was on top of the world. I know attitude problems and all as later on went on and he had other problems. But man, seeing Matt Harvey do good, actually, it pleased a 14-year-old guy, rooting for Matt Harvey back in the day. And that was pretty cool to see. Matt Harvey never thought he'd make the hot stove, but holy crap, he made the second ever edition of Eton's Hot Stove. Matt Harvey has made the hot stove. And also, who had made the hot stove, I had mentioned him earlier, Joey Meneses, playing for Team Mexico. He's on the Washington Nationals right now. He is 5 for 10 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Last night, this guy turned on 2 fastballs inside. I'm sorry. First one was fastball, second one was a slider, I believe. He looked good. He put Team Mexico right on his back and said, I'm taking you home. We're winning this game. Kicked USA's ass last night. It was pretty entertaining to watch them freak out the way they did. They were pumped up to beat USA. Obviously, USA was the favorite to win that game too. And that was pretty cool to see. But, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care that Mexico kicked USA's ass last night. I don't care about anything. I don't care that USA didn't kick Great Britain's ass as much as they should have. Team USA, ladies and gentlemen. Team USA, ladies and gentlemen. Dare I say it a third time. Team USA, ladies and gentlemen. They will win the World Baseball Classic yet again. You heard it right here, ladies and gentlemen, on Viton's Hot Stove. Right here, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, V. Where do I start here? So we got no Yankees on the hot stove. That could be problem number 1. But that's all right. Got to give it to Joey Meneses, though. What a great story. He was a guy that kind of was bouncing around all levels of the minor leagues, and then finally got a shot with the Nationals. Was the last year, or the year before, and
Last year.
yeah, last year. And he was had a solid year for them, but you just saw how proud he was last night playing for his home country and coming through and beating their big rival, the U.S. And yeah, dude, they really kicked our ass if we're being honest. And yeah, dude, I'm not so sure about USA winning the World Baseball Classic. I don't know if you watched any of these other games, but Venezuela looks like the real deal. Dominican Republic could be any team. That's how good they are roster wise, but I know they haven't shown it. And Puerto Rico, they're all right, but they're dangerous. And Japan, dude, Japan is just another really, really good team. So, and that's not even talking about Mexico, who you know smoked us. So
Well, I can't argue that, but I'm telling you, you gotta believe. You gotta believe in United States of America, my friend. They are winning. They're winning. Telling.
solid.
I love it. The hot stove is definitely hot today, as always. Let's bring the temperature a little bit down and let's jack off. Jack, what do you got for
Yeah,
us?
dude, I got some interesting things. So, what's really pissing me off lately, and just watching the World Baseball Classic, especially the game last night. So it's a couple things. So I'm reading the lineup, and I see Pete Alonso's playing, and I'm like, great, it's a lefty. Patrick Sandoval's on the mound. Makes sense. Schwarber's sitting. Righty Vance Worley pitched for Great Britain, so they're platooning the DH. Makes sense. Then I look, who is playing second base still is Jeff McNeil, right? And Jeff McNeil, I mean, Lord have mercy. He might have cost the U.S. the game single handedly last night. He made two plays which he really should have made.
Don't bring that over here.
I'm bringing it over here. No, I'm bringing it over here. The first one, I don't know what the hell happened where the ball, he just like missed the ball. The second one was a tough play. Yes. He ran to get the ball, and then I don't think he realized how much time he had, and then completely rushed the throw. He was airborne, and then, Goldschmidt probably should have scooped it, but just like, I don't know. I feel like you gotta like control your body a little bit. And both Mets are, I mean, Pete Alonso last he looked like he's never swung a baseball bat before, and that's been my problem with Pete Alonso over his.
Seriously? That
So far in his short career is that he'll go through these stretches where he looks like he's never swung a baseball bat before, which is fine because he brings the power, so it's understandable. But last night, 0 for 4, 2 Ks against a lefty, that's supposed to be his, what he's supposed to do. And he's taking these humongous swings when it's like, dude, just put the ball in play, hit a double in the gap. Like, you're so strong, you don't even need to swing that hard. Let's just and my complaints about Pete is because I know how good of a hitter he is, and I know how strong he is. It's like you could tell when he's over swinging, and it's out of respect, V. It's out of respect. But the jack off of the day, right? It's not these players on the Mets. It's not. It's Mark DeRosa because I think he goofed. And I really like Mark DeRosa. I think he does a good job for MLB Network, and I thought it was awesome that he got this head coaching gig, and the team he's picked is great, and I love how he picked Andy Pettis as a pitching coach and Ken Griffey as a hitting coach, and pretty much every decision he's made. But a couple things in this game. One I just mentioned, I thought they should have started Trey Turner at second base. If you're not going to play Trey Turner against a lefty, which Trey Turner mashes lefties against, they want to take him out of the lineup, get Tim Anderson in at short. Makes sense. Okay, now put Turner in at second so you don't have the lefty with McNeil, right? That didn't make much sense to me. And then keeping Brady Singer in so long, I know he's a starter, but it just looked like you could just tell sometimes watching the game, this guy needs to come out. Like, he just didn't have it. Then he kept Daniel Bard in. Bard was getting shelled. It was a tough watch. It was kind of embarrassing, and it really pissed me off. So, Mark DeRosa, you're the jack-off of the day. I know that was a bit of a long-winded answer, and I had to throw the Mets digs in there, but one jack off for today. I guess I could throw a Yankee in there if we're being fair, because
Aaron Hicks.
Jonathan Loizaga
Oh.
is a guy.
Wait, Dave, did you say Aaron Hicks?
Something in my throat.
I mean, if you want me to talk about Aaron Hicks again, I can. But
We always want you to talk about Aaron Hicks.
We know how much you
Jonathan
love him.
Loizaga is a guy that the Yankees need to be good, and if he's not good, he got absolutely roped pitching for Nicaragua, and he just got absolutely just teed off on. He can't be that guy, and I know the regular season hasn't started, so it's like I can't be too mad. It's words of encouragement, Jonathan. You're not on the list for this week, but it's a bit of a warning for him. Aaron Hicks, like, he should be cut. I mean, last week we said how good of a player, like, he was doing better, but if anyone watched him try to field a fly ball and just, like, look up in the stands like, oh, where'd it go? And the ball lands 5 feet to his left in fair territory. I mean, there's nothing left to be said. 3 letters, DFA. Bye-bye, Aaron Hicks.
Now, before we move on, I gotta make a couple comments. Now, listen here, buddy. Listen, the only argument I can say to starting Jeff McNeil over Turner is the fact that McNeil
Just think about what you just said.
Did you let me finish my sentence?
I'm sorry.
I said the only argument. There's only one argument, and you didn't even let me say it. Gosh, goddamn Yankee fans. So, the only argument you could say is that McNeil is literally last year's MLB batting champ. This guy puts the ball in play. He didn't look great up there last night. He got a hit in like the last inning. He just poked it down the third baseline. Where was that the whole game? I don't know. Now, I can't defend the first, let's call it a fuck up. I can't defend that one at all. The second one, he had to run from, the other side of second. Yeah, that was a tough play. That was a tough play.
No, I said it. I said it was a tough play.
That was a tough play. Now, listen, it should have been made. At that point, as you got to that ball and you're throwing it on the run like that, should have been done. But it was a great attempt. But, yeah, he didn't look good. I don't think he was worthy to make the jack-off segment, but I guess there's no one.
No, he's not on the list. It's
He's
Mark
not?
DeRosa on the list.
Okay.
Mark DeRosa is one jack-off per day. Mark DeRosa, he made a bunch of goofs. I wasn't feeling it. And it's not McNeil's fault. It's not. Obviously, the defensive plays are his fault, but I just thought lefty, like,
Lefty, I know.
That's a brutal matchup for McNeil, especially a guy that throws, like 3/4. No, not for McNeil, bro. No. I feel like that's perfect for Trey Turner. He mashes lefties, and so does Tim Anderson. So why not play both of them? Turner played second when he was on the Dodgers with Seager. Like, I don't know. It seemed like it made too much sense, and they decided not to do it.
I agree. And Alonso, funny enough, I don't know if you watch how many Mets games you do watch. Alonso doesn't mash lefties. This is my concept that hurt me for this. I guess you could blame DeRosa for this. Now, I know they have Alonso there definitely to hit the lefties. It's probably a platoon between him and Schwarber at DH. And that's fine. But, like, Alonso doesn't crush them. Like, he should. I'm not saying he shouldn't. He should definitely crush lefties. But
he has reverse splits completely?
He does. Last year, the Mets couldn't hit any lefties last year.
Was it his rookie year? He's... One year he was just so much better against lefties, I thought.
I think it was his rookie year, and then the last 2 years he was like his numbers against lefties have just really started trickling down. And last year was just very not great against lefties. Like, he still hits his home runs, but like numbers overall wise, he's really reverse splitting, as you said.
Okay,
which is interesting.
All right, look at that! You're informing me. You're filling me in.
I try my best here. I gotta defend my boy. Gotta defend him.
It makes sense.
Jack, he watches the Mets, so you don't have to. He's doing you a favor.
Exactly. Thank God.
All right, hey, fellas, 2 great segments, as always. I'm going to bring into some big D's, big odds. We got some over-under lines at you. Again, since the season hasn't started, we're going to do season-long activities, and we're going to review them at the end of the year. We're going to see who the ultimate winner is. I got 5 of them. One's a bonus. We're going to do some pitchers and some hitters. All right, so we're going to start with some pitchers.
All
We're going
right.
to set some ERA lines over under. All right. Mr. Garrett Cole, ERA over under 3.5. Jack, as the Yankee fan, I will let you chime in.
Dave, that's a tremendous question you got there for us. Garrett Cole had an uncharacteristically high ERA last year. He's a guy that's usually ERA down around the 3, maybe below 3. You could tell that he has not been the same since the sticky substance has been banned, and that's me being completely honest. So he still gets his strikeouts, which is very important. He always has one of the best whips, one of the best FIPS, if you're a fan of the advanced analytics. I'm going to go under for Garrett Cole. Under, I'm thinking maybe, you said 3.5, Dave?
Yep.
I'm thinking maybe a 3.3, a 3.2. Really anything under 3.5, I'd be ecstatic for Garrett. I mean, he's a horse, so he's always going to throw more innings, and so yeah, anything below 3.5, I'd be ecstatic for Cole. What about you, V?
It is a great line. It's a good question. It's a good guy to talk about. I think the Yankees need Cole to start 32 games again, and he's got to do that. Just that has to be done for them to win. And I'm honestly a firm believer that Cole's numbers last year, especially his ERA, was a little misleading. I thought he was a little bit better pitcher than that number was there. So I'm going to actually drill the under. I know I'm a Mets fan. I'm a baseball guy, and it's a smart move. I think Cole's a great pitcher. I think he actually will get under a 3 this year. I think Cole's gonna have a really good year this year.
I love the sound of that.
Yeah, V, you're a Mets fan, but you're also a betting man, all right? And you know when to make the right bet. Yeah, I really posed that line because I agree with you, V. I think that ERA didn't really feel representative of the season he had. So I was kind of, throwing that out there to see what you guys thought, if it was going to look more like that this year again, or if it was going to be brought down. So
Just trying to
interesting
bait us,
points. Let's throw it to a Mets pitcher. We're going to go with Scherzer. Going to set an ERA line at 2.35.
Oh my god! I'll start. I gotta take the over, man. Listen, I love Max. I love him to death, and he had a lower ERA. I think he had a lower ERA last year, and he has the potential to do that again. But that's a really good freaking season if he takes. I can't take the under on this. I just can't. Like you said, Dave, already, I'm a Mets fan, but I'm a betting man. And I just can't bet. I can't even bet on, Verlander to do that type of line. I don't even think I can bet on anybody. That's a tough line to hit the under on. So I'm going to hit the over on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go over as well. Like V said, just tough to get below a 2.3. So I don't know. For those reasons, I think I'm going to have to go over. But one thing I guess I'd be worried about is maybe injury-ridden season for Scherzer, where he has a spectacular April or something, and then I don't know. Would never want to wish injuries on someone, but God forbid gets injured and then has a sparkling ERA, and then maybe we look like fools. But I'm gonna have to go over.
If he's healthy for the playoffs, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah, you know what? I was setting these lines, and I'm like, I'm gonna test Big V because he's going to bet over on a Mets ERA and under on a Yankees ERA. So we're really testing, are you a Mets fan or are you a betting man? And I think you proved yourself. All right, let's do some hitters. Actually, 2 people that were mentioned in the jack-off today. So this is exciting. We're going to start Mets. We're going to start Mets. The batting title, Mr. Jeff McNeil. Going to set his average at 3.05 over under.
Ooh.
V can go
I guess
first.
yeah. Wow, that's a great line. Because you know what's funny? Is there is no more 300 hitters in baseball. What? Was there 10 batters who batted over 300 last year? But I'm taking the over for the flying squirrel because he is one of the few guys in the game who just have true bat to ball skills. No shift. This guy will have more holes to find to hit through. I think this guy, I'm not going to say he beats his average last year, yada, 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 but he'll bat over what'd you say, 305?
305.
He'll bat over 305.
All right. I'm gonna have to take the under here. Just not a big Jeff McNeil believer, believe it or not. I think what V said is true though. He is one of the rare hitters then that can put the bat on the ball very well. And I think if he stays healthy, he'll hover right around this number. But I'm thinking he has maybe I don't know, maybe like a 285, a 290 average. Not saying he's going to be significantly lower, but I'm thinking a little bit lower. And, maybe we see some power from Jeff McNeil this year because the Mets are going to need another hitter to step up and be another power hitter. So that would be nice to see. And maybe he sacrifices some of those average points for some home runs and RBIs. So I'm going to go under. But go ahead. What?
No, I'm sorry. Before we go on to the next one, I just want to say is I actually hope McNeil does not tap into any power because he tried to tap into some power in 2021 and he had a horrible season. So I don't think he's just made. I don't think he's made for home runs. He can get a hold of one here and there. If he played in Yankee Stadium, maybe he'd get a hold of 20. But he's not there. So
He hit 23 in 2019.
yeah, that's the juice balls. That's the juice balls. Every stadium was Yankee Stadium at that point. Come on now. So I mean, I
Do you
think
think the Mets will have to bring their fences in again?
they just moved them in 8 feet in right center. So I listen. Would I like McNeil to hit like maybe 8 more home runs on the year? So then he'd be around like the 15 home run a year mark. Yeah, but if it means sacrificing what he does now, I think what he does for the team is too valuable. I know the Mets need more power, and I do agree with you there that Alonso can't be that really only source. But I don't think that should be coming from McNeil. I just disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's fair. I just think, I know McNeil has got a contract until 2026, but one thing that does get you paid is the long ball. We do know that. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Interesting point. All right, for next one, I want to pose this, and when you think about it, I think we should not think about injuries as a factor. I think we should set a rule of thumb as the three of us that if it's not representative of, I don't know about a minimum we do, but if it's not representative of a full season, we can disregard it in the end. But Jack, I'm going to let you start because I think you like talking about this guy. Aaron Hicks, his average, I'm going to set an over-under line at 220.
Best line you've given today, by the way.
You're trying to bait me so hard.
I'm trying to bait you. Are you a Yankees fan or are you a betting man?
Well, first of all, I am a Yankees fan, but I'm not an Aaron Hicks fan. So let's get those things just completely straight. I do root for him, but it's like, dude, it's like insanity. It's like seeing the same thing over and over. Like at a certain point, it's like I know what I'm expecting. It's just this guy is not it. I know last episode we said how he's hitting well and like he looks like he's doing decently, and I don't think he's got a hit since last episode. So. That is that, and he also suddenly cannot field fly balls. So that's a major part of playing left field is just like catching the pop ups. You would think hitting the cutoff man. So for those reasons, I'm gonna go under for Aaron Hicks 220. I think now I know what you just said about injuries, but I almost think that Hicks is gonna end up either traded, cut. I don't think he ends the season with the Yankees. That's just my opinion. So we can figure that out as far as the points and rankings for the dreaded punishment. But yeah, I'm gonna go under here. With
Wow,
Ridley.
the Jackoff just made a hot take right there. What can I say? He had it all at once here, ladies and gentlemen. So, what you want to quickly agree on? You want to go by baseball standards for a minimum of like required at bats and starts?
We can,
Sure.
and I would even pose it to you guys. We can keep it as a Yankee. What is his average? So if he gets traded, we kind of disregard it. We don't have to follow Aaron Hicks any more than we want to.
Oh, I'll be following Aaron Hicks.
Okay. I'm a betting man, dude. Jack B, what was Aaron Hicks' batting average last year right there?
Well, I don't even know.
I believe I got it as 216 according to Baseball Reference.
Oh, I got it right.
216 last year. You got the line at 220. I'm taking the under. I don't think Mr. Aaron Hicks is doing much for me.
Fuck
I don't. I don't think he can win me a bet by hitting the over here. I hope the man nothing but the best. I hope he hits 320 for all I care, but he ain't gonna because nobody in baseball's gonna. But that's besides the point. I'm taking the under, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. I know we actually agreed on a lot this episode, which is exciting that you guys can be friends. But I also I really tested you guys here too. My goal going into this again was, are we going to bet against our teams a little bit? Are we willing to do that? So I'm happy to see it. I do have one bonus one for you guys. It's something I think about a lot as we do these episodes. Over under times Big V has smacked his mic and or desk. The line is 6.5 during this recording to this point.
You counted?
I'm gonna
So
go
there's
back.
a right
I'm
answer.
gonna go back and review the tape.
Oh, okay. Over under 6.5. So any contact to the mic or the desk.
Yes,
Significant.
enough for the mic to ping.
Okay. We might have had another one right there, so I'm gonna go with the over on this one. I think this might be a lock, and I would love to get a solid point on the board for myself for this long-term punishment. So
it was great too.
I mean,
We came into this episode and V's like, guys, I thought the mic was a little too far away from me last time. I'm gonna move closer to it.
yeah. So that's all we needed.
Now, before I pick the answer here, I'd like to let everybody know. Listen, I'm from New Jersey. I've lived in Jersey my whole life. I speak with hand motions. I'm very passionate about what I talk about. I love New York. I love the Mets. I'm a Mets fan. I love baseball. I get excited, so I smack a few things. Next thing, I'm smacking you guys across the head. But I'm taking the over.
Betting man.
I am very curious to review these tapes, but I think it's a lock, just like Aaron Hicks not hitting his batting average line. So, awesome. Well, hey, you guys agreed on 4 lines. That is a round of applause for you guys. I'm really proud of you for that. We got some time left, so I have some questions for you guys, and we'll take turns answering. Now, in this podcast, in our first couple episodes, we've talked a lot about the present, and we've talked a lot about the future as we're getting ready for the season. I want to go into the past. I want to relive your guys' childhood with you. My first question, who is your favorite Yankee or Met of all time, and why? Let's hear what you guys have to say.
Go ahead, V. You go first.
I'm first. Yeah. All right. Well, my favorite Met of all time is going to be Captain America, David Wright. So, when I was like 6 or 7, this is prime David Wright right there. I mean, this guy should have won an MVP. I think it was 2007. He should have won the MVP. My complete opinion, but that's besides the point. I don't know. He was the first Met I started to kind of stare at his stats and There's a reason why I ended up playing third base in high school for baseball was because I wanted to play like David Wright. First ever game I went to, David Wright hit a foul ball and I caught it. It just grew it. I love the guy. I wish he never got injured the way he did. This guy could probably still be playing in today's game. That's what hurts me the most about him. David Wright's my answer there.
All right. I'd love to answer this question and then give my favorite Met after, and then we can go back to V for his favorite Yankees.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm going to give a super basic answer, and I know there's a lot of Yankee fans my age would say this, but for me, it's Derek Jeter. Simply, he's a shortstop. I always wanted to be a shortstop when I was growing up, and I did play shortstop a lot growing up. His number two, being from New Jersey, and he was even born in our town, right? Just like so many parallels, and just what he represented as just such a good guy, and everything. The mantra, the captain, he was just the best. Super interesting though. My favorite Met of all time will have to be Jose Reyes, dude. Jose Reyes is one of the most fun players. I just love to watch him play, and him and Jeter had the little rivalry back in the day.
Yeah.
Not really rivalry, but just the mutual respect. Reyes was so flashy and switch hitter. He won a couple batting champions and just super athletic dude. And I remember when he signed with Toronto. He was there for a little while, and then he was with the Blue Jays, I believe, as well. He had a couple decent years, so yeah, Jose Reyes, he was my dude. I liked Jose Reyes. Super speedy, too.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool watching him come back to the Mets, too.
Yeah.
At the end of his career. I like that pick. That's a cool pick. I got a weird Yankee one.
Sure.
Only because he's not known as a Yankee. He's known as Seattle Mariner. But I really liked watching Ichiro.
Oh, dude, Ichiro's the best.
Dude, so I watched so many highlights of Ichiro on the West Coast. And then he comes, I know he played for Miami for a little bit, but he played with the Yankees for 2 or 3 years. And I don't know why, I always tuned in to watch Ichiro play. I loved watching the dude play. I know it's a weird pick. Probably he's not a big Yankee guy, but I don't know. As far as anyone, I don't know why I think of a guy in a Yankee jersey that I like. It's Ichiro. So
I like that.
Before, I'm curious to see what Dave's answer to this question is too. Can I fire it right back to you, Dave?
Oh, I guess you can. I can answer questions too and not just pose them to you guys. My favorite Yankee of all time is Aaron Hicks. All right, let's go to the next question. No, I mean, I feel bad. You know what? My answer is Derek Jeter, but I'm going to give a secondary answer because, again, Jack already gave that answer and explained all the reasons I would explain anyway. I was a big Andy Pettitte fan. I'm a left-hander myself, so he's kind of who you model your game after. Had one of the smoothest pickoffs in the game. I mean, the guy was just solid. Interestingly, too, he went to the Astros for a minute. And when he was on the Astros, I was on a travel team that was called the Astros, and we were branded with all the Astros stuff. So I really felt like Andy Pettitte. So just a little side note. I always loved watching.
You guys bang on garbage cans?
You know.
Wait, no, you don't need to be banging garbage cans. Just ask Big V to be banging desks, and we'll be good.
We should have not played by the rules because we were not good. My favorite Met, Jack, I wish you didn't steal off all my answers, but I remember talking to it with you, V, last episode, just how fun he was to watch, Jose Reyes. The stolen bases. He did everything right. And, it's just another player that I feel like a lot of young kids modeled their game after, and I think that's what really makes a generational player. So that's my answer there. That's my most feel. Bonus answer, kind of thought about this as I was describing Andy Pettitte, but how can you not love Mariano Rivera? I mean, the guy didn't even need instruments to be the best pitcher. The best
No, he just needed Sandman. What is it, Spider-Man? Jesus.
But that's so much cooler. I mean, come on.
Come on, man.
All right, fellas.
No one
Well,
likes the
listen.
Trumpets.
I don't know. I don't know what to say there. I don't know what to say there.
Timmy Trumpet, he's still waiting for those World Series tickets.
It's coming. It's coming this year. It's coming this
Poor guy.
year.
He's been waiting.
All right. Hey,
How's the Yankees closer, by the way? How's the Yankees closer, huh?
Gonna have to bring out that button. Go ahead, Joe.
As you were saying, Dave. No, that I'm not.
That's right.
We're not
That's
gonna-
right. That's right. Say it.
We're not gonna do this.
Last thought.
Guys, we got time for one more question. V, you answered this a little bit already, so I'm gonna start with Jack. Jack, tell me about the first Yankee game you ever went to.
Ooh, all right. First Yankee game I went to was actually at the old Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
So I think it was the last season, maybe 2007 or 8. I think it was actually 2008. And they played the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at the time. Matsui hit a 2-run home run. They won 2-0. Xingming Wang pitched for the Yanks. He threw an absolute gem, like 3-hitter. Remember him?
Yeah.
Jabba Chamberlain also came in to pitch, and he threw 101 miles per hour, which was crazy because at the time, not that many guys in 2007-8 were throwing 100. So everyone was all fired up about that. It was also freezing cold. I think it was early in the season. It was freezing cold. I was like 7 or 8. I was super young. And yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
All right. So that's.
Oh, wait, one more thing.
Sorry.
Jorge Posada hit an absolute nuke. And I don't know who on the Devil Rays robbed him of a home run. Completely robbed him.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe it was Ben Zobrist at the time. Somebody playing right field for the Rays. Right center field. He robbed them. I forget who it was.
Was it Rocco Baldelli? Wasn't he?
It might have been Rocco.
He was a Ray back in the day.
Yeah.
Wow. Pulling out the Rays.
Rocco with the Robbo. All right, V, tell me about your first game.
So, I was a late bloomer to go to my first Major League Baseball game. It was 2011. It was the Mets versus the Miami Marlins. Chris Capuano throwing an absolute gem against the Marlins. I remember David Wright had hit a... Holy crap, no. Jason Bay hit 2 home runs in the game. I just remember, it just clicked as I'm thinking of the memory. Jason Bay, yes. Jason Bun Bay. He went deep twice in the game. I think Mike Nikias, who any true Mets fans in those tough times know who Mike Nikias is. I think he went deep. The Mets won the game. I remember, as I said, David Wright hit a foul. I was down the third base line. David Wright hit a foul ball. Literally, I'm in my my tiny little league glove. Just plopped right in there. Caught it. I just hit the mic again. That doesn't count, though. It doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that was fun. I can't remember much, but I just remembered Jason Bay hitting the 2 home runs.
That might be his only 2 home runs. For the Mets.
You might not be wrong, actually.
Was that at Citi Field, V? That
City.
wasn't at Shea, right?
City.
Yeah, so you never made it to Shea.
And sadly, never did, and it disappoints me every single day.
I went once. I don't know. I like Citi Field a lot more than I like.
Well, you went for me then. I appreciate that.
Fellas, real quick, I'm not going to get into it much, but my first MLB game was actually at Fenway Park. I went to Boston. I don't know why. The Yankees weren't playing, so I saw the Boston play the Mariners. And just a little quick story. Me and my brother, we got there in time to see the Mariners do bad in practice. We went down to like the very front and watched, and then Richie Sexton came over, said hello, and gave us each a ball. So that was very cool. And then I sat the rest of the game behind a pole because Fenway Park literally blows. So
yes, yes,
so that was my
it's so
first
overrated.
And then I was like, you know what, I got to get my ass to Yankee Stadium. So I did make it to the old Yankee Stadium and the new. And I think, you know what, the last time I was at Yankee Stadium, they played the Mariners. And I think the first time I was at the stadium, they also played the Mariners. So I don't know why. I've seen the Mariners more than any other team for whatever reason. So that's my story. But hey.
A quick aside to that, Dave. I went to Fenway once, and my seat was like this, and the game was over here. So I had to break my neck to watch the game.
Broken neck after the
I was
game.
like,
yeah.
"What the fuck is this, bro?" I'm never coming back here.
It's ridiculous. All right, guys. Hey, great episode again. Love the segments. Thank you for recapping the league. V, they can find us on Twitter, right?
Find us on Twitter at BQB Podcast.
Jack, we're on Instagram and TikTok.
Also on the IG and the talk at BQB Podcast.
Heck yeah. And you guys can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Music. We're on Amazon and Google now too, fellas. Like we're really getting our name out there. So tell your friends, tell your grandma, they'll love us. But with that being said, I hope you two have a great night. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good one, guys.